Hi guys, thanks for checking out the channel. In today's video we're installing a Viessmann 100W Combi boiler and we're carrying out a Combi boiler conversion. Okay, so we've already got this system decommissioned. Now if you're interested in seeing the decommissioning process during a Combi boiler conversion, then feel free to check out our other videos. I will leave a link at the end. So because we've done this a few times before and we filmed it, I'm not going to show you this process on this one, but as you can see we've removed the hot water cylinder, cold water storage tank, and we've just bagged up the old pipework and controls. Now we are in a first floor flat, and as well as doing the Combi boiler conversion, we're actually going to be upgrading all the radiators and changing some of the locations. So it's going to be a bit of a difficult one because we've got solid floors here, so we haven't actually started that process yet, so we'll save that for a couple of days time. So this is the cupboards where all the tanks and the gas boiler was located. So fortunately everything is in one place. So by that I mean we've got the flow and return here coming out of the existing floor, which we can just run straight into our new Combi boiler. We've got a hot water feed, so that would have come off that old vented cylinder. We've got a cold water main over here on the right, and we've got our gas down there in the corner, as well as a tube for a condense pump. But initially the boiler was located quite low and the tank was located above it, so that huge tank was actually sitting across these timbers here. So now we've removed all that, we're actually going to raise the boiler up so it's a lot easier for servicing and maintenance. And then although temporarily we may use this condense pump, in the future when the client gets her bathroom redone, they should be able to just plumb it straight into the soil stack here. So what we're going to do is we need to fill in these holes here from the existing boiler. It looks like there probably was an old original balance flue going out there by the size of that hole. So once that's all sealed up, we can get the boiler hung and begin to start piping up this new Viessmann. Okay, this is the box that the Viessmann 100W Combi boiler comes in. It's a little bit larger than your standard Combi boiler box, but it does have increased impact protection. So in the box itself, we have got a lot of boiler documentation, as you would expect. We've got our bolts and our bracket, which is nice and slim to secure the boiler to the wall. We've got our commissioning checklist, which is rather important because this boiler has quite an in-depth commissioning process, which we'll go through later on. We've got our envelope with all our boiler documentation in, and Viessmann give you quite a few accessories like cable tidies. We've got our ERP label, our boiler template. We've got our condense hose, which is actually combined with our pressure relief valve, which I really like. I know some people don't like it, but I just think it's convenient. I appreciate it probably doesn't look the best, but it is a simple, easy to install design. And then we have got our jig and all our isolation valves that sit on the bottom of the boiler. So inside here, it does come with a combined filling loop, which is brilliant, as well as a external pressure gauge, which I really like. Now the finish of the boiler has like a white quartz effect. It's very good looking, I would say, as boilers go. Got a bit of a shimmer to it, and as you can see we've got a Witch Award, which is proudly displayed on the front of the boiler. So once we get this hung on the wall, we'll show you it in situ and we can begin to pipe it up. We have blocked up the old holes and Bailey has just cored through for the new flue hole. So like I said, we've raised this up just so it's easier for servicing and maintenance, and also we can drop the PRV straight into the soil stack. So we have actually cored a 6-inch hole all the way through, and we are using those flue snugs. So if you're unfamiliar with those, they are building regulations approved. Create an airtight seal externally and internally, and that just allows us to slide the flue through, pull it back on itself, and not actually get on scaffolding to seal up for a flat. So anywhere where you've got no access, or you need to use anything above a triple ladder, you can use these and it'll seal up absolutely fine, and you'll have no problems with meeting regulations. So we'll get the boiler on, cut the flue to size, and we can begin to get this piped up. Right, I have just started to remove all the old radiators just so we can get prepared for the new ones that are hopefully going to be delivered in the next day or two. So they're a bit of a pain to come off. They're so old, they're really seized onto the pipe, so I've just had to really wiggle them to break them free. So just stacking them up here, hopefully get the scrap man to collect all them. I don't like putting big radiators in my van anymore, always end up having sludge all over the place, and now that I've got fancy racking inside, I try to avoid that. So anyway, we have got the hot and colds all live on the boiler, so wanted to get those up and running as soon as possible just so we can get the water back on. Now what we've done here is we've just joined on to the cold water main here, run that straight along up into the boiler, and also teed off for our cold feed to our bathroom. So this cold pipe here, that would have been the cold feed from the tank that was above, so that now feeds this bathroom that we're adjacent to, and the hot water pipe just goes straight in here. So this is the old hot water distribution pipe work. Would have had the vent up to the tank, but obviously it's pressurized, so we don't need that anymore. Now, next job is we need to join onto these flow and returns. I've already set up the clip, so just need to get the pipes in the correct orientation. It's going to be a little bit difficult on this bottom pipe. We need to kind of re-solder it and then bend it over just to get that in the right position. So I'm trying to keep it as neat as we possibly can. Excuse the terrible cabling coming out of that at the moment. We'll lose that once we're done. And I have just put an isolation valve there just so you can shut the cold water off to the bathroom itself. So we're making good progress. We're just going to work on the central heating bits now and hopefully get this boiler totally piped up within the next hour or so. Okay, so I've got the new Viessmann all piped up, and to be honest it's fairly straightforward. Everything's easily accessible and you've got plenty of room underneath the boiler to actually get the isolation valves on and get your elbows in just to bring the pipes down. Now, it doesn't actually come with a pre-pipe kit. Some boilers you get the copper towels, this one doesn't, so you do need to pipe it up all the way to the isolation valves. Now, the existing condense pump we are no longer going to be using, so because we've raised the boiler up, we can now terminate the condense straight into the sauce stack, which is on the toilet right next to this little boiler room. Now, while I've been doing the pipe work, Bailey's been carefully breaking away the screed around the existing central heating system. So because we're going to be changing the radiators, unfortunately they're all different sizes, so the existing pipe work's not going to match. Now, it's been quite difficult. Quite a lot of the rads are moving location and we need to run new pipework in some new channels. The issue being there's already like barrel pipework, electric cables already in the floor. So some of it's going to be quite tricky. So let me just show you what he's been doing. So for example, this one here, the new radiator is actually going on the opposite side of the room, but the problem being we've already got so much pipework buried on, or in this screed, sorry. Now the screed depth isn't actually that much, so to try and get under and over it's going to be almost impossible. So we're going to have to rethink what we're going to be doing. Now the biggest chase that he's had to do is in here. So originally we was going to have a vertical rad replacing this one, but we're actually going to have two vertical radiators now over by these big French doors. Now this chase is not too bad along here, but we've got cables in the floor here, as well as cables in the wall where the radiators go in. So what we're going to try and do is get the radiators hung, get them piped up, and then we'll just remove them so the customer can then have it decorated, have these electrics made safe. Right, we are eagerly anticipating the arrival of the radiators, and in preparation Bailey has started to run the copper pipe work to the rough locations in the lounge. So as you can see, we are continuing to use copper throughout. The whole system underneath this screed is copper, so I don't want to be just chopping and changing with any sort of plastics. We're just taping it up with some good quality duct tape. It's water resistant, so you can use Denso tape, but to be honest, it gets so messy, it is a complete pain. Okay, so it's the following day now, and late in the afternoon yesterday, all the radiators did arrive, bar two. So this morning we've managed to crack on. Now, unfortunately, they did send straight tower rail valves only, so we've been running around trying to find the correct valves from all different merchants. So luckily we've got them now, and we can make a start with the installation. So let me just show you some of the work we've been doing. So in this room here, this is the front room. We've got two vertical radiators either side of these lovely French doors. Now these have corner valves on them, so as you can see, we've just chased the pipework into the wall there and then dropped the pipework into that chase that Bailey did yesterday. Now this has all been done in copper, we're not using any plastic at all, and it makes it a lot easier doing it in copper, especially when you're putting pipes in the wall. You haven't got all that flex that you would get off the plastic. So that big chase along here, that big old radiator is now gone, and this has just been joined onto the pre-existing pipework through here. So let's move on to the master bedroom. So all these radiators are pretty similar, other than they are horizontal in the bedrooms. So on these rads, the client just opted for angled valves. Again, just drop straight down into the floor, but not chased into the walls on this one. So as you can see, we've had to do quite a lot of chasing just to get the pipework alterations made. And with all the tape and everything on there, you can see that we're just protecting the existing copper pipes. Now the tower rail has not yet arrived, but that one is going there. The chase is already done. We've got pipework either side, so we need to kind of slip coupling that on and then tee in for our tower rail. And then moving on to the kitchen, we've got a similar radiator as the front room, so vertical rad, and that's again got the corner valves, which we have just piped up into the wall, and I've had to obviously go into the floor on this one as I'm feeding it back through to where the hallway radiator is going to be. So, the two rads have just turned up. Brady just brought them up the stairs. Awesome. Okay, so that was not pre-planned. And then moving through here, the guest bedroom or second bedroom, similar style radiator, just pipes going straight into the floor. So we are getting there with this one. It's been tricky. As you can see on this one, we've got cables in the floor. We've had all sorts to kind of duck, dive and dodge, but we are getting there. Luckily the existing pipework is in quite good condition, so I'm hoping once we get these two rads on the wall that have just turned up, we can get it air tested, and then if that's okay, we'll have it pressurised tomorrow. Okay, so we've now got all the radiators hung, they're all piped up, and we are just carrying out our air test before we fill it up with water. Now there's a pressure relief valve on the boiler, so that will release air or water at just over 3 bar. So we've just pressurised it just below that, so 2.95. It's held there now probably for about 10 minutes, which is brilliant. I'll be totally honest, I thought we might have some problems with the old pipework, but it's looking okay so far. Obviously it's going to be a different scenario when we run water through it and heat it all up, but so far so good. So we're just going to leave this on here probably for another 10 minutes, and then we'll get it filled up with water and get the system operational. So what we're going to do is we're going to run the commissioning while we're actually filling out the system itself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect the boiler to my phone, go through the commissioning process, and then that will allow me to see how much water is in the system itself. Okay, you can see here it's telling me that the water pressure is low, current pressure is 0 bar. So that's one feature that I really like. You can manually go into your phone and see how much pressure your boiler's got. I'm not sure if there's any other boiler manufacturers that allow that. Maybe the new Valent, but I'm not too sure. So there's our filling valves. What have we got here that's turned off? Bailey, can you chuck me a spanner, please? Let's open that up. Okay, so that's now live. So if I turn those two on, that will start filling up the central heating system. Okay, so once it starts to pressurise, it should tell me what stage you're at. So you can hear the boiler starting to react, and there you go, it's just starting to go up now on my phone. So it is going up 0.1 bar, which is great. We've currently got the radiators off at the moment, so the pump is going to struggle to circulate. We just want to make sure that the pipework itself is absolutely fine. We have risked it and put the cleaning chemical in initially, so hopefully it will be okay. Right, as you can see, 0.5 bar. Now you can see here it says the ideal target pressure wants to be 1.5 bar, which is perfectly fine. So we just air checked it close to 3 bar, so I am confident we're going to be okay. So you can just see there on the phone that it's just changed, so ideal range, so the boiler will now operate, but we'll bring it up to 1.5 because that is what it's asking. Okay, so the boiler is now trying to light just to check that flue gas sensor, so we're just purging the gas through now. I just remembered I'd actually left the gas off, so should be doing that check as we speak. So hopefully we're going to get the okay in a minute on that. So this is probably the part that takes the longest. Like I say, once you do it once, you don't necessarily need to do it again. Now, when you're doing the commissioning, it doesn't ask you to go through all your standard gas safety checks. There you go. So that has just come up now with a green tick. So you still need to obviously go through and do all your combustion analyzer, gas rate, etc. This is purely just the commissioning of the system itself. So it's now asking me for any additional settings. So you can change your heating curves, temperature levels, etc. Now, as well as this commissioning app, there's also an app that the client uses, which is the Vitotrol app, and in that app they can access the hot water temperature, central heating temperature, they can see what the flow temperature is, they can monitor the water pressure on the system, as well as their electrical and gas consumption. And I just think it's really ahead of everybody else at the moment in terms of the information you can provide to your customer. There's also a way of remotely accessing this boiler as well, so you can remotely keep an eye on it, especially if you have a job that's quite far away. The customer calls up, tells you they got a problem with the boiler, you can actually access the boiler itself and just go through its fault history, etc. So I'm just going to skip this no for now, and then that will say commissioning successful. It gives you a digital report which you can use for your own records, and then what should happen is once you click finish, the AP symbol on the boiler is going to go to let you know that you're finished your commissioning, like it just has done there. And now we can start running our modes, get this central heating up and running, and yeah, just make sure everything's okay. Okay, so now we're all full up, we've got the boiler all operational now. At the moment it's just linked out, so the central heating is just going to come on automatically. Now, to pair with this boiler, we've actually got the Viessmann stat. It's the Vitotrol 100E, I'm not sure if that's how you say it, Vitotrol. So this links wirelessly to the boiler itself. This is new. Now you can still use the VCare app, so I fitted one the other day and it's pretty good actually. So if I change a setting on this stat, it will show it on the app, and if I change a setting on the app, it will show it on the stat itself. So what I'll do is we'll go through the procedure of connecting this up. Now I must admit, this is quite smart looking, I think. So the display itself is really simple, so it's really easy to use, and it comes in this nice sort of black and silver colour. Let me just get it out. Nice big display on it, like I say, very easy to use, and if your customer doesn't like how it operates, they can just directly use the stat itself. So what we'll do is let's get this connected up to the boiler and we'll go through the commissioning process. To connect this new Viessmann stat, I need to go back into the app and click on extend the system. Now if I flip the stat over, there's a QR code on the back, so if I go to extend system, select Viessmann components, select the right thermostat, and then I need to scan the QR code. Does that instantaneously. Then just select the type of boiler that it is, so it's the 1 series, not the 50. Okay, so I've got my phone connected again to the boiler and I've got my stat ready to start pairing. So I'm just going to click on manage paired components. Now that is going to start looking for the thermostat. So if I click start pair on here. There you go, now it's pairing. There you go, components pairing your system and pair devices are listed here. So I need to just add more, so basically add this stat. And it's now starting to look for this stat. So I found the other day that it wasn't connecting up straight away, but if I took a step back, it actually hooked up fairly quickly. So there you go, so it's now paired up, and let's go into continue. Again, so I'm probably making this sound quite complicated, but when you're not holding the camera, it's pretty easy. So when you are paired, the thermostat will start displaying what you would normally expect, so the room temperature, etc. So that's a good indication of knowing that it's all set up. So there we go. Components paired, there you go, successfully paired with the Vitotrol 100E. So let's click continue. There you go, system successfully expanded with a new component. So that is pretty much it. Now I checked the wireless range on this and it was really good. We had an awkward one the other day where there's a split level, took it to the opposite side of the house and it was absolutely fine. So if any of you have ever had any issues or problems with these, please let me know. They're pretty new to the market, so my experience so far is they're really easy to use, but you can't beat the Vicare app. It really is great. So if your clients or customers are maybe a bit on the elderly side, they might prefer the stat, so it's kind of, you've got the best of both worlds with this one. So anyway, thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hopefully catch you on the next one. Now me and Bailey just got to fill in all these chases. Awesome.